Hi, my name is Rachel Mengler. I am with Team 10 for this project. The first thing that I learned is that working actually towards, global expansion and everything within a company is very different than discussing it. I know that you have to consider, your GDP, your GDP per capita, your poverty line. You have to consider the culture, the age range in the market, and so many other things, and the cost of production. I mean, the list goes on. And we all know that being business majors now, but actually having to consider all those things and then apply them to each market, and then based on those factors pick which is the best market to enter is a completely different story. So we started out entering Japan because all the numbers were relatively, medium compared to the rest. They weren't super high population, super crazy high poverty level, nothing crazy. So it felt like a safe market to enter, and it was. We started out with pretty low pricing, basically almost at cost, and we were losing a little bit of money. So we said, you know what, let's double our price. We'll go 50% over our cost and see where it goes. So we did that, and it was actually relatively successful. So we figured out that even though we raise prices doesn't mean that people aren't going to buy the product, even if they're looking for low cost, because you kind of get what you pay for, and I think that the market recognizes that. And so even though people are looking for the low cost, they're not going to buy something that's $1 because they know they're still going to get cavities, So in Japan, after we raised our costs a little bit, we started to do a little bit better in sales. Our sales stayed relatively constant. It didn't skyrocket super fast, or dip super low or anything, but it didn't make any huge changes. So we decided to enter something else to see if we'd be more successful. We actually entered into India. It was not our best decision. The only products that were successful were the children's toothpaste, and it was just not enough to cover our production costs. So after about a period or two, we decided it's not worth our advertising costs, it's not worth our production, and there's no reason for us to stay here. So we left India and we kept going with Japan. Well, our contribution in Japan was doing really well. Actually, our reports back on D2L said that we were #1 in contribution. So that was a really great thing, but we felt that we needed to reach out even more. So since we had a plant in Japan, we were able to distribute throughout all of Asia a little bit easier than we would have been going straight from home, and it would be much cheaper as well. The costs were almost, if not more, than double to contribute or to produce from home. So the last 1 or 2 periods, we actually entered into China, and those sales did really well. They grew exponentially. There was no dips, nothing. The sales were doing awesome, and the contribution was great. So we did really well in China, and I wish that we had entered it sooner. Something that I would change would probably be to do a little bit more practice in the beginning to really understand what everything means and where you need to go with it and what kind of differences you can make based on the decisions you make in the previous periods. So I definitely would have practiced a little bit more. I did do the rounds one each by myself to, just figure out what I was doing, but I didn't fully understand until I was working with my team, and it made a difference once we made, a difference in decisions. So as far as a marketing perspective, I probably would have entered China earlier because we did so well in the end. It's kind of a shame that we entered so late, but it did skyrocket our sales, and it did help us out eventually.